Well, that one is unfortunate. Rangers lose 3-2 to the Carolina Hurricanes, and it's just a shame. I every concern that I had going into this game definitely showed up tonight, and the concerns that I had just kind of carried over from the past two nights. It's like, how could you have concerns when they won 6-0 and 7-0? How could you have concerns? Well, I had two concerns during those games, if you remember watching those recaps. My first concern was the power play because Gallant decided to just throw the kid line out there and the fourth line out there all willy-nilly on the power plays late in those games when they already pretty much finished the job and were ready to pack their bags. And then the other issue that I had was, how are they going to handle a full 60-minute effort after dominating teams the way they did? Because you don't have to play a full 60 really when you win a game 6-0. When you win a game 7-0, it kind of just is what it is, and the game just takes its course. You don't really have to keep your foot on the gas. Granted, you should, but you don't really have to in blowouts like that. And it definitely showed that they haven't played a full 60 minutes in a while because, yeah, that just was not there. And it was definitely a embarrassing loss. Gordon Murphy got absolutely pantsed by the entire Canes. Not only their coaching staff, but their players got absolutely pantsed with the defensive side of things because defensively there was no game plan whatsoever. Absolutely zero structure, zero effort in the defensive zone tonight. And it was just putrid to watch. But granted, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. The Canes are a good team. That you've already beat them twice this year. So there's still, you could still salvage the season series if you even care about that. The only issue that I had really is the fact that I wanted a crack here at potentially second or first place. And, you know, when you lose to the Canes here in what is essentially a 4-point game, it's kind of hard to imagine they end up gaining any sort of ground here to the point where they could win the division with only about 11 games remaining or so. So it's just unfortunate, but you can't win them all. That's for damn sure. But before we jump into this, remember to leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, to turn on your notifications so you know when I upload a video next or go live. But let's talk about this game because this game was definitely just a giant kick in the balls. I think that's the fairest way to put how this game ended because the Rangers didn't have an awful first period, but it wasn't great either. Shots were 12-9 in favor of the Rangers. I thought both teams had very good chances early in the period, and the Rangers were the only team that ended up scoring, as Goudreau has a nice little takeaway off of a faceoff draw, and he sets up Tyler Mott in front of the net. Tyler Mott buries that one, makes it a 1-0 game. But that's pretty much all that happened in the first period. You had some good chances on both ends. I thought Carolina may have had the better quality chances, but the Rangers had more chances, of course. But still, not an awful period for the most part. I thought that they played pretty solid. And I thought that, you know what, let's see if they could carry the offense over into the next period. You need better defense still, though, in that first period. That's for sure. And unfortunately, in the second period, they definitely got dominated. Shots were 15-5 in favor of the Canes in that second period. Just zero offense and zero defense in that second period. But somehow it was still 1-0 by the end of it. You had Martinook take a penalty early in the period. The power play does nothing. And then he got a breakaway out of the penalty box. Thankfully, Igor Shesterkin came up with a big save. He had a lot of big saves tonight, and this loss was definitely not his fault. It's just a shame that the team defense didn't show up in front of him. He had a nice save on Nason as well. Lindy then went off for a holding penalty, even though in the same sequence they missed Brent Burns, tripped Tyler Mott, and they also missed Linger getting elbowed. But regardless, Linger went to the locker room. Thankfully, he ended up coming back not too long after, but the Rangers had a good penalty kill there. And again, that period was just awful. Somehow, though, they were still up 1-0, which amazed me. And it's like, okay, just come out and play a solid third. You don't even have to play a good third, play a solid third, and you should be able to win this one, I don't know, 2-1 or something, or 3-2, like the score ended up being, but unfortunately not for the Rangers. And the Rangers had a power play at the end of that second period that carried over into the third, and that went nowhere. Foss went off for a tripping penalty, and the power play does nothing again. And then the goals ended up coming as Chatfield sniped one over Igor Shesterkin's head. Terrible play by Keandre Miller, just puck watching completely there. not being any sort of aware of Chatfield closing in. And yeah, he gets free range at that one to tie it at 1. But thankfully, the Rangers scored right after. Kakko answers pretty much just a couple seconds after, and he got a nice little bounce to his skate. He ends up getting out on the forehand, and he buries it past Freddie Anderson. Then it ends up being 2-2 right after that because Miller chases Stahl, even though Mika was already there. And then you had Trouba chasing, I think it was, I forgot who was there in the corner, but he ends up going chasing there. It was Foss there in the corner. And yep, you have Nason right in front of the net on his own island, and he taps it in to tie the game at 2. Just terrible defense yet again there. And then Carolina ends up making it 3-2 late in the period as Burns finds Teravainen for a tipping goal. That made it a 3-2 game, and you knew it was the nail in the coffin. The Rangers had some late chances, but nothing good enough. Shots in the game were 39-30 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. Not good enough. Face-off percentage 51-49 in favor of the Rangers. Power play went 0 for 3. Again, I was concerned about the power play going into it, considering they just didn't have a lot of practice going into this one. And Gallant needed to play those power play units against Pittsburgh and against Nashville, even though they were up by a lot, because this scenario happens. That's just the nature of it. Blocked shots, 14-8 in favor of the Rangers. 20 giveaways for the Rangers and 7 for the Canes. You see the problem. You see the problem. And just to quickly touch on the players here, I want to just start with Igor Shesterkin and say he was great. Yet again, he was great. I have zero issue with his game, and I'm very happy with what I saw from him. And we're seeing the Igor Shesterkin of last year. It's just, again, zero team defense. And then for the defense, Keandre Miller was awful tonight. He was awful. He had way too many turnovers, just no care with the puck, no care when the puck was coming towards him, as he was just puck watching the entire time. He was going out of position way too much tonight. Terrible game for Keandre Miller. Same goes for Jacob Trouba. Terrible game for that defensive pair, which I've been complimenting lately. They both had an awful game tonight. Unacceptable. Lindgren and Fox, they were pretty good tonight. I was happy to see Lindgren back in the lineup. I thought Lindgren was actually fairly good in his return here, but you needed more from that pair. You needed a bit more. Late in the game, I didn't really think it was their fault, that last goal, because they were on the ice for that Teravainen goal. I didn't think it was their fault, but regardless, very solid game for the most part from them. And then Schneider and Mikkola, I thought they were just okay. I didn't like Schneider's game really that much. I thought, just like Miller, he was out of position too much and turning the puck over too much. But yeah, Schneider and Miller just not good enough tonight. I'm sorry, but they need to be way better than that. They need to be way better. The offense was not good enough either. They did not get enough quality opportunities. Chris Kreider, he disappeared after the first period, and there was nothing really. Trocheck, I thought, was pretty good, actually. I thought, for the most part, he actually had a solid game. Kane really was a non-factor, though, tonight. So that was disappointing when it comes to that second line. The first line was just meh tonight. Not good enough yet again. Or not, I shouldn't say yet again, because they've been good, but they just weren't good enough tonight, and that's the difference. The top 6 just didn't show up tonight, and that was really the difference. No points for anyone at all in that top 6. You needed them to be better, and they just weren't for you. Panarin, no points for him. Zibanejad, nothing. Tarasenko, nothing. And Carolina, you got to give them a bit of credit there. They really shut them down, but you needed more from these guys. I thought Tarasenko had an okay game, but again, you need them to put the puck in the net at the end of the day. The Kittle line, I thought, was very good. I thought the bottom 6 was very good tonight. I liked the Kittle line's performance. Kakko had an unreal game, and he had a goal as well. I was happy with what I saw from Kakko tonight, and he was also making some nice plays down low in the corners. Very happy with what I saw from him. And then Filipino was flying up the ice. He looked good. Lafreniere, Very good game for him. And then the fourth line as well. VC Goudreau and Mott were very good tonight. I have zero complaints with the fourth line and the third line, but overall, you needed more from your top six. You needed more from your power play. You needed more from your defense. And that was really the difference in the game. So, as much as it sucks, it's definitely fixable issues and issues that I'm not worried about going forward, because how often is this top six going to get shut down? I don't know. We'll see on Thursday if the Canes do it again, which then I'd be a bit more concerned. But this top six is too good to not show up. The defense is really where I have more of my concerns, if I'm being honest with you guys, because yeah, Keandre Miller has not been good enough for a few games now, and he needs to step it up, and it needs to change quickly. But let's get the chat now and see what you guys have to say. Thank you for the $50 dono. The Canes guys, I like to call you. So it's a good game, guys. Pulled pork 1, thin crust pizza 0. Well, yep, touche. That's all I got to say. Fair enough. Good game, though, to you. Good game to you. But yeah, they sucked in the second period, Robbie. Agree. Not good enough. And that was really a big problem as well. Mod and the fourth line look good. I've been impressed with them. Yeah, I like the fourth line a lot, but you need your top six to show up. That's for damn sure, which they just didn't tonight. They just didn't tonight. I think Lindy was good, but we got so used to our lines that it was like Lindy was a new core. What do you think? By the way, I'm reposting this. All good. If anyone had any comments that I didn't address, just re-put them in and I'll try to address them. But yeah, I agree with that. I could agree with that completely. Forwards were not hungry on pucks and too many mistakes defensively. Carolina is great keeping the puck behind the goal line. Big forechecking team. Yep, completely agree, Christopher. They weren't hungry enough on pucks, especially that. And as much as I complimented Chris Kreider over the past 2 games, again, that forechecking that he was showing the past 2 games was just non-existent tonight, and he was a ghost after that first period. I thought he had a great first period, and then all of a sudden disappeared. Yep, you're right, Nick. No structure in the D zone. And yeah, after that first power play, you really saw the ice start to tilt Carolina's way. Agree with that, Luca, completely. 1,000%. I mean, they have the ability to play in the middle of the ice. It's just a matter of them actually doing it. We've seen it. We saw them score 6 and 7 goals the past 2 games prior to this one. It's possible, and a lot of those were getting inside the middle of the ice there. It's possible. They just got to be able to find a way to do it consistently. That's all. Miller way out of position on the first 2 goals, drifted to the middle on the first and forgot which side of the ice he plays on the second goal. Needs to be addressed. 1,000%. 1,000%. And then, yeah, you had Trouba also just leaving Nason right in front of the net as well. Like, what are you doing? If the other defenseman chases, you got to be able to stay there. Sorry. If they would have scored on the power play, they would have been in the lead. If Carolina give Carolina credit for the penalty killing. Yeah, Carolina definitely has a great penalty kill, and it was an aggressive penalty kill. That's something that the Rangers are going to need to focus on for Thursday, is how to beat that aggressive penalty kill. That's for sure. Because I didn't like at all the looks that they got on that power play, on those power plays, I should say. And yeah, the Rangers have proved they could compete with them. They've beat them twice this year already. So that's not my issue at all tonight. My issue is just that you got to be able to play a full 60. And this was my problem with, the 6 and 7-0 wins are great, but they don't teach you to play a full 60. That's my only issue with them. We had nothing going after 40, and you guys are awesome at closing out games. Do you think the Rangers went into a bit of a shell in the third and we're sitting happy on that 1-goal lead? 1,000%. Yeah, I really think that Yeah, the Rangers got too comfortable, and they're probably looking at the fact that they've had a shutout period for what it was 8 in a row, and then very close to being 9 in a row. They probably got too comfortable and too cocky with that, and they were just like, "Yeah, we could shut this game down and we could win this game 1-0." But it happens. They didn't play a full 60, and they gotta just be prepared to do it next game. But that's where I'm going to wrap things up. I really do appreciate everybody that stopped in tonight. It means the world to me. I love you all a lot. Remember to leave a like on the stream if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload a video next. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go, Rangers.